This is going to be an update that straddles Chapter 7 and Chapter 8. I thought I was going to do more in Chapter 7, but after a while I realized the last section I just had done what I thought was enough. And then I did the supplementary exercises for Chapter 7. And then the first section of Chapter 8, I am into it. I'm at a point where I have enough pages to make a solid update, and then I'll just keep going. Don't know how long it's going to take me to do Chapter 8. Given my track record in Chapter 7, I have no idea. I'm not going to forecast it this time. I just can't. Now, in the case of the number of problems, I did 20 from Chapter 7 and then 22 from Chapter 8, and that takes me to 1,379 problems attempted for this book. I also read the first section of Chapter 8. Then on to the book. There's not much to show for Chapter 7 because I've already shown it, Section 7.5. Section 7.5, and then the supplementary exercises, which did not turn out to be as long as I thought they would. I attempted them all. I thought they were going to take me longer. Yeah, I'll show what I did. Then the general linear transformations. It's a subject that's very much, I feel it's important, linear operators. And so I believe I'm going to try to do all the problems in this chapter. I'm saying that now, and then I'll probably change my mind. But definitely in section 8.1, everything having to do with saying whether a transformation is linear, and then talking, of course, about the kernel and the range of the transformation, then also getting into the nullity and the rank. I think it's really important. And so, yeah, as far as section 8.1, I will attempt all the problems. I'm up to problem 22, and I'll show my work. Actually, I should say I'm going to start on problem 23 after this update. So I'll just briefly go over the tail end of Chapter 7. It was more of the same, of doing all these P matrices and making sure that you get the eigenvalues at the end. A couple of proofs. I could have done them a different way from the way they're done in the answer book, but I did feel that I had done it, so I'm going to call it that. And then yet another one of these where you find the eigenvalues, you set up the P matrix, and then you try to get the eigenvalues back at the end. You see. Let me see a good example. Yeah, right here. So get all the way down, and then you get your eigenvalues. Some of these were very tedious. The combination of imaginary numbers and square roots made it very tedious. But I did work through them and got a lot of them right, of the tail end problems. I did figure out how to divide out this characteristic polynomial and get the right eigenvalues. But yeah, after a while I started to just make them like really wide because of all the square roots. And boy, is this really error prone, all these different square roots. They just really are. But I've got this way of like circling what my vectors are to make the P matrix. And so I got neater towards the end of Chapter 7. I sure did. Yeah, I sure did. And I did get my correct values. Proofs, I could have done better. And then, of course, in the case of the supplementary exercises, I couldn't figure out for these matrices what was the correct thing to say when they're all negatives or there's some zeros. I know for a fact that it's plus minus is indefinite, all pluses, and these are the matrices as you go higher in dimension. I could get 3 of them for sure. The other 3, I don't know. I'll have to look at them later in some other book. Then on to section 8.1. Of course, I should have said that completes my 26 notebook. and it took me August, September, 2 exact months. So 8 weeks to do one of these babies. That's pretty good. That's 6 notebooks a year if I keep that pace. I'm not sure that I can. Okay, so now what will eventually become the 27th notebook begins in chapter 8, reading. And this is nothing different than what you find in the book. Of course, and I haven't mentioned, I guess I've mentioned it before, but I don't mention it often, how I do have this, I do like to go back and review whenever something is mentioned anew that hasn't been mentioned in several chapters. And I do have a habit sometimes of quoting a previous theorem. So here, the moment they mentioned kernel at range, I remember distinctly that there's a place in, did I put the reference? Yeah, on page 274, where the matrix view, system view, transformation view are shown for kernel and range, and I felt that that was very useful. So yeah. The subspace of R to the n, the subspace of R to the m are described, null space, column space, the different solution spaces, and kernel and range. Yes, that's right. And so also, yeah, let me see if I have an example where I was reading and I just went back and quoted a whole theorem from before. Can't see one off the top, but I do that. Of course, my electric sharpener broke down, so I've gone back to my Japanese pencils that are a little darker, because they're easier on manual sharpening. Yeah. And so these are gonna look a little darker. Yeah, that's fine. Then started on the problems. I didn't encounter any major issues. Just the way that I worded my answer was a little different from the answer in the back of the book in a couple of cases. And I thought I had gotten something wrong, but actually, in some cases, I did get it right. I think this one I got wrong. I did have an example of a problem that really threw me off. I'll have to look it up. I'm not going to look it up now because I know that I'm going to do another round of linear algebra with more theoretical. But somehow, when you have a matrix, it's m by n to do the rank and nullity. That threw me completely off. That does not track at all in what I've done when I've solved problems before, so I'll have to research this. I don't know where this is coming from. Came totally out of left field. But yeah, here again, they did it a different way. I knew what the answer was. I just completed this problem. A lot of fun. Problem 20, 21, 22. Got them all right. For 22, I tried to get slick. I tried to use a matrix, but I made 2 different errors. And when I was checking them, I just wasn't getting it right. So I went old school, and I actually did the equations by hand. And sure enough, these are correct, because when I checked them, they're correct. So that is section 8.1 of Anton.